Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched Survivor Island of the Idols at season 39, episode 12, Just Go For It. Spoilers ahoy, if you don't want to find out what happens in this episode, then stop listening now, and also don't talk to me on Facebook Messenger, because I might bring it up in conversation if something relevant related to it is what we're talking about, and my... continued apologies to Maggie for revealing something that happens in this episode in a conversation we had earlier today. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. So anyway, I already didn't really want to do an episode about this episode. And then I feeling really bad about having spoiled that for Maggie, maybe even less enthusiastic about talking about this episode. There's a lot. I really liked parts of this episode, and I'm saying episode a lot, but the immunity challenge was cool. Island of the Idols was cool. And Tribal Council was fairly interesting. And then the stuff after Tribal Council was So I had seen some tweets about it, and I thought it was I only saw the smallest amount of information, and so that was in the back of my mind. So I knew that Dan had been pulled from the game, because of another incident. I did not know at which point that happened, so I thought it was going to happen at Tribal Council, maybe, as things kept going on and on. I was like, do they do that that's like a weird time to do that. Then Tribal Council happened, the votes happened, all of that. So Elaine was voted off after a really emotional moment she had, talking about the dream of coming on Survivor and like finding herself and all that kind of thing. And so she's the next one voted off. And so Janet had won the immunity challenge earlier today. Dean had gone to Island of the Idols, and he succeeded in his challenge, which was a coin flip, literally a coin flip. And he could choose one of three powers or advantages. And he chose Idol Nullifier, because before that, Janet had found an idol, and Dean and Elaine witnessed that finding of the idol, or the discussion that was taking place between Janet and Tommy. So yeah, that's the thread that goes all the way back. And also Nora stole Dean's shoes and put them up where he couldn't reach them, but there was no follow-up in that, and he had his shoes later on. So it was just a dumb thing to include there for some reason. Maybe it'll just lighten the mood a little bit. So it's bookended by a kind of funny thing, whereas it ends with a really bummer down. There's a real dark cloud over this whole season. There already was, but this just makes that cloud darker and bigger. And I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to want to rewatch this season at all. And that's a real bummer, because so many other seasons, a lot of seasons are so rewatchable. And this one, I like some of the people and stuff like that, but I kind of wish I hadn't seen the season now already, even though I've liked so much about it. That's how crappy something like this is. And anyway, what was my train of thought here? I don't know. I like the immunity challenge was pretty cool. They had to unspool themselves, and then there's a word puzzle, and Elaine goes, "Oh no, words!" And then she almost won. She figured out the words that she knew the answer, but she just didn't get the pieces in place. And Dean sneaks in there and gets that win. So yeah, she's so close to win. there's a lot of close calls in this season. But anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything that happened in this episode, game results wise. We have Dean's extra his legacy advantage. It's fake. He doesn't know it's fake. he thinks it might be real. But it can only be played when 6 players are remaining, and with the events of Dan being removed from the game, then that skips there. It skips over there being a number 6 people left. So luckily for him, he has that idle nullifier, so he still has he still has that advantage. So I mean, I guess it kind of works in his favor as far as that goes, because if it was real, then that was going to get him by that 6 people remaining anyway. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know, the 5 people who are left, we have Janet, we have Lauren, we have Nora, Dean, and Tommy. And I think Janet is the most deserving of it, like as a person. But gameplay wise, I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I guess Dean now, he's been kind of the underdog for a while. So I guess like as far as making moves go or like saving himself, he hasn't really like sniped anyone or anything, like blindsided anyone, I don't think, but he has like been able to save himself and keep himself in the game despite being on the wrong side of the numbers like all the time. And that the last episode, that switch that could have completely changed his game in a positive way for himself, but we'll find out how that goes. But man, I could go. I already tried recording this episode, and I ended up talking for like 7 minutes alone about all of this situation and all of that, and related to like real world stuff and like some of the frustrations of reading people talking about it and not understanding aspects of that type of behavior and especially in a workplace and all that kind of stuff. And it's really frustrating that could be very well be the reason why this kind of stuff still happens in the first place, is that people don't understand like what just how to be people. I don't know. It sucks. The for it to happen anywhere, it's awful, and for it to happen like being so prominently like such a huge part of the events of this season of a show that I like so much. Yeah, but in the long run, it'll be a positive thing for future seasons for sure, because stuff like this very well may have, or even has confirmed to have happened in past seasons, but it was, either not reported, nobody's spoke up about it, or maybe it was even ignored if it was mentioned and all that kind of thing. So I feel like it will be, it will be a there'll be a positive change in the future, I hope. And from what I was reading, there was like kind of like a blanket warning at the top of the season, like before the game, like it's part of the preparation of the season now, like this kind of stuff is not okay, like at all. That's what I had read, something along those lines. And if that's the case, then that alone is a positive is a positive thing. And then if that stuff does happen, they can crack down. They hopefully have like a solid, policy in place of like how to handle these situations, because this is the first time that they've like dealt with it to this degree. So yeah, it'll cause positive change. I'm optimistic about that, but it's making this current season like just really difficult to watch. And another, if there wasn't for that aspect, everything else about this season most everything else about the season I've really enjoyed. Like the challenges and the Island of Idols, all that stuff is so great. And yeah, so anyway, there I go again, spending way more time talking about that and trying to be sort of general about it, and still is taking a lot of time. But it is an important thing. And I mean, it hasn't, that stuff doesn't really have the opportunity to happen on a show like The Amazing Race, which is pretty much the only other reality competition that I watch a lot of. And I guess stuff like that has happened on Big Brother. And so, which makes a lot, that seems like a situation that's much more likely to happen with, the living situation there, as opposed to being like starving on islands. Like for most people, that's like the last thing they would be even considering doing, but so anyway, I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but yeah, hopefully if it also causes changes in other shows, that they're like just the entire industry in general, that making it such a big part, like we get so much exposure on this season. Hopefully, makes it part of it gets other shows' attention about those issues as well. But anyway, okay, I'm going to stop talking about this now. Let me know what you thought about this episode by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. Stay safe out there in all the infinite multiverses, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Oh, I totally was going to talk about Jumanji, The Next Level. Okay, we're still in this episode about Survivor 3912. I saw Jumanji: The Next Level today. It's really good. It's really funny. Awkwafina is so great. Like the rest of the cast was already fantastic anyway, but like she's hilarious, and I don't want to get any deeper than that, because anything more would spoil it. It's kind of a spoiler that Awkwafina is even in it. But I mean, she's doing the press tour and all of that, so she's advertised as being in it. So, it's not, that itself isn't a spoiler. Anyway, she's so awesome, and everybody else, they're returning from the first movie who are in the game. And then also you got Danny Glover, and Danny DeVito. These guys are legends. They're so funny. And they're awesome. And yeah, it's great. There's so many great action sequences. It's really funny. Go see, if you're bummed out about this episode of Survivor, go see Jumanji: The Next Level, and you'll have a great time, and it's totally worth checking out. And I also saw it in the IMAX. and that was fun. But I would have had just as much fun on like a small in one of the small theaters, or even just watching it on at home. If you'd like to wait until it comes out in video, it's also I think it'll be just as fun watching at home as well. So there you go. Don't watch Survivor season 39. Go, like, in general, just don't watch the season. Go instead watch Jumanji The Next Level like 4 or 5 times. It'll take the same amount of time as watching the season, and it'll be just a whole lot more fun in general. You won't feel awful. Maybe you might feel off. Actually, there's some sad stuff in it. It made me a bit emotional as well, but it's offset by like the feel good stuff and the really fun stuff. So anyway, that's all. See you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.